Liz, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be here.
Let's start a little bit with your background. I'm interested both in where you're from and how you ended up interested in crypto, cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, all of that.
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Ukraine. My mom and dad ran their own small business, which gave them a perfect work-life balance. So they were always around yet running a successful company. And that seemed very effortless and inspirational to me. So at about 14 years old, I thought, okay, it's time to set up my own business and become financially independent. And that led to a chain of completely or partially failed projects, including Christmas tree company, was selling car and laptop stickers, and then water filters, just really random stuff. And eventually I went to the business school, which was led by current Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. So I got really lucky to be there. And that inspired me to set up my own tiny IT startup where we were developing and designing websites and applications. So I'm really glad that the path led me to this, because that's how I discovered my passion for technology. And also that was the first project that didn't completely fail. So that encouraged me to keep going. And well, after spending some time in the industry and meeting different people, I was hunted by the blockchain project who were about to go to the ICO and change the world. They didn't, but in my time with them, I managed to meet a lot of people really passionate about the space and go to different conferences. And Ukraine was a major blockchain hub then. So yeah, eventually I was also getting paid in Bitcoin right when it went from 20K to 3K, which was when I saw
it. Okay, that was the last deep winter that we had.
Yeah, that's right. So shortly after, I decided to go to New Zealand to study. And I thought I really want to stay in the industry. It's very exciting. So I Googled blockchain companies, New Zealand, Centrality came up. And I thought, well, what a dream come true it would be to work for this strong project in this industry in the most beautiful country in the world. So when I arrived, I asked my uni to send an email to Nicole Upchurch, who is now a CEO of CENNZnet, and say that there is this intern who is ready to do like whatever to kickstart their career. And she gave me that opportunity, which eventually led to the role of the marketing manager for CENNZnet. And yeah, we're forever grateful for that. So ever since, going down the rabbit hole of Web3, witnessing, and I was also lucky to become a part of this large ecosystem of like 30 projects, the Centrality ecosystem. And they were launching stuff that existed only in white papers until recently. So it's very inspirational.
Great. So you actually went from a Google search to being at that place and finding a position. I mean, that's got to be a pretty unique story.
Very random. And I really did not anticipate that they would reply. So yeah, just got very lucky.
You also have a bit of an entrepreneurial bend to you with water filters, did you say?
I don't know why water filters or Christmas tree or stickers. I don't know exactly why, but yeah, just I think the example of my parents always inspired me. So, and when I grew up, I realized that I know nothing, and that was actually quite harmful to my entrepreneurial career and ambitious, because now I realize that I need to learn so much more to become successful at running my own company.
I think that's ongoing, is that you always feel like you know nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of weeks ago, a few letters were published and they caused a bit of an uproar, at least in the crypto Twitter sphere, and also around fintech, primarily in America, but I think they have broader applications. So first of all, one at a website called concerned.tech was published. So I'll just read a little bit as a summary of what it is. The title is that it's a letter in support of responsible fintech policy. It starts off, "Dear U.S. congressional leadership, we strongly disagree with the narrative peddled by those with a financial stake in the crypto asset industry that these technologies represent a positive financial innovation. They go on to say, by its very design, blockchain technology is poorly suited for just about every purpose currently touted as a present or a potential source of public benefit. Finally, blockchain technologies facilitate few, if any, real economy use cases. So really, this letter is sent by people that are critiquing the blockchain and specifically the cryptocurrency or the monetary innovation side of it. Short time after that, some human rights activists, including Alex Gladstein, launched a rebuttal letter called Financial Inclusion. And basically, they say that nearly all of the authors of the anti-crypto letter are from countries with stable currencies, free speech, and strong property rights, meaning America and Europe. The inclusion letter was signed by people from 19 different countries, including Ukraine. And the concerned letter, the one critiquing cryptocurrencies, was signed mostly by software tech companies, people at universities, or critics of blockchain. So given all of that background, I guess a question to start us off is do we have a financial privilege problem? And what do you think about the idea that there is no real economy uses to this technology?
Wow. Well, first, it really fascinates me that this is what's happening in 2022 when cryptocurrencies and blockchain are being adopted by many countries and institutional investors, and we still have this argument that this is the problem looking for solution with no real uses for that. And yeah, it's a very good point that the letter that concern tech comes from people from developed countries. But how about people who cannot trust the government, who cannot trust their local banks, who do not have access to financial services? What other alternatives are available to them? And Western technologists who send this letter argue that there are better solutions to these issues already in use, but I'm not exactly sure what they're referring to and what other solutions are available to people with lack of access to traditional financial services in developing countries. So, and the letter sent as a response presents one of very important use cases for blockchain, which is fundraising. And I saw the quote from the Ukrainian human activist on top of this letter, which summarized it quite well for me, that Bitcoin is not just the technology, it actually saved lives. And those charitable organizations were able to raise funds for protective equipment for Ukrainian soldiers when the war just started and there was no infrastructure, that traditional donations were not coming in yet. So that really saved lives. And cryptocurrency is particularly suited for international fundraising because it doesn't respect national boundaries and it's censorship resistant. So there is no central authority that can block transactions. So, and there are so many more economic case studies for blockchain already in use. So yeah, I would understand this letter coming through when I just started my career and during that ICO boom in 2017, when all of these ideas were existing in the white paper, but there were not many products that were being used in real life. But this isn't the case today. We see so many implications for blockchain already.
Yeah, you're right. The global nature of basically the Bitcoin network and possibly Ethereum as well has really erased a lot of these borders that keep things penned in, and especially when people are writing to U.S. Congress from American tech companies, thinking with their siloed U.S. only hats on, and they might have a good point that certainly some aspects of the industry are flawed, maybe could use some more regulation. There's a lot of scammers out there that are looking for an opportunity, basically to take advantage of people. But that's only one side of things, right? The other side that we're actually seeing a lot of is this idea that you can use the blockchain to make donations or basically gift these assets in a border-free way to people in Ukraine.
Yeah, that is true. And Ukraine has really used this for the fundraising attempts when the war just started. So in February, banks were limited. There were restrictions on the use of fiat currencies, and charitable organizations and government were running out of supplies. And if you managed to pay in fiat, the wire transfer would take like 2 to 3 days.
That sounds fast, actually, for a wire.
Yeah, I'm giving them some credit, but sometimes it takes longer than that. And with cryptocurrencies, it's literally minutes. So the benefits of cryptocurrencies for Ukrainian refugees and NGOs have been invaluable, especially in the early days of war. And it really helped that Ukraine was already a crypto-friendly country, and the war really accelerated government's ambitions to build the blockchain-friendly economy. And in March, the president of Ukraine signed a law on virtual assets, which means that cryptocurrency exchanges can now legally operate in the country, and people will be able to declare their income in virtual assets. There are a few new fraud regulations in place, and people behind this law even say that the national bank might issue its own digital currency. So it's being adopted at the government level now, and as terrible as these events are, it became the accelerator for this adoption. Yeah, and as I said, Ukraine was already crypto-friendly, so it was ranked in top 5 for crypto adoption around the world. And yeah, there are probably a few reasons for that, which was interesting. And I'm wondering if this would be the case for other developing economies as well. So first of all, we have a really bad banking system. And this is something probably those Western technologies have not experienced living in developed countries. Like, you can't even imagine. You cannot, it's hard to put money into the bank. It's even harder to take the money out.
Can you just maybe expand on that? Like, you have family there, right? So like, what is it like sending funds or getting money in and out of the country?
Yeah, we are using TransferWise to send money back to our families in Ukraine. And it's got much better these days. So it does take probably a few days depending on when you send it. If you send it on Friday, it might arrive on Tuesday because of the weekend, but usually it's around 3 days. There were so many restrictions imposed on withdrawing funds from the bank. When the war started, there were limitations on the US dollars that you can withdraw. So people were queuing up next to ATMs trying to get cash out of the bank because they were afraid, they were worried. Because there were a lot of cases in the past when the economy was bad and the government decided that your money is now government money. So that happened. And that's why people don't trust the government, people don't trust the banks, which makes up a perfect ground for crypto-friendly content.
Right, and these aren't like fringe people, reading strange posts on Facebook, right? This is millions of people in developed, advanced country. What about US dollars in Ukraine? Is it possible to get US dollars?
I'm not sure about the state of things as of today, but it is very challenging, partially also because the hryvnia to US dollar was frozen in the bank, so the real course was very different. You could get it from the black market, which I'm not sure I should be saying, but you could only purchase that from the black market. And the difference between official course and the black market course was just absolutely insane.
Okay, so this is a very well-known symptom of a central bank that's in trouble when you have an official rate and then you have a black market rate, you have limits on things like US dollars. I did read recently that the currency officially is devaluing by about 10% per year, but people are saying that it's actually more like 20. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. There are a lot of, and this is the case for the Russian Federation too. So I have a lot of friends from Russia here in New Zealand who are struggling to withdraw their funds in US dollars or struggling to send funds to their families. And because it's just frozen, there are too many restrictions, and the rates, as you said, the difference between official rates and the real rates you can get on the market are insane. And obviously everyone wants to hold on to their dollars and get rid of hryvnia. So there is a very big difference in between, like demand and supply. Yeah.
And so do you think that something like this new legislation that you said was signed in March, it sounds like it was like an emergency measure to enable cryptocurrency donations. Do you think that will stick? Hopefully things wrap up, I guess, in the near term, and Ukrainians can get back to business. But do you think that the crypto adoption will be maintained, or do you think that the central bank will step in and try to revert back to the status quo?
Absolutely. I think it will be maintained, and partially because there was, as I said, there was the foundation prepared for that already. So Ukraine has always been a crypto-friendly country, and we have a very strong IT sector, and the higher education among Ukrainians is over 90%. We have a lot of strong IT universities. So there are a lot of digital technologies that are widely adopted at the government level already. And as I said, the chaos of war just gives rise to alternative economies and accelerates the government's ambition to become crypto-friendly country and to build the crypto infrastructure. So this law that was signed, I think it will take time for that to be properly implemented, because obviously the government is now focusing on war and saving lives rather than the crypto regulation. But it's also National Bank is involved and will become a regulator for cryptocurrency exchanges along with National Securities Commission. And with the fundraising efforts at the moment, National Bank is involved as well. So they partnered with FTX Exchange, who is providing the way to exchange donated cryptocurrencies to fiat currencies, and then they send it to the National Bank of Ukraine. So that makes like the first instance in Ukraine, and I'm not sure if there are many cases like that in the world with cryptocurrency exchanges working directly with the government agent.
Right. So it sounds like this almost would have happened anyways, even without the invasion. I did look up some stats, and as of July 2021, now this is almost a year ago, right? Ukraine had the fourth most significant adoption of crypto per capita. And to put this in context, this is according to Chainalysis. This is only behind Vietnam, India, and Pakistan. And then you have Ukraine sitting there number 4. And I presume they haven't lost ground in the previous year, perhaps maintaining that position if there is another study coming out this year. Another, if that's an official stat based on some methodology of looking at wallets or whatever, the president of the Blockchain Association of Ukraine recently said that he thinks it's about 10 million in terms of population in Ukraine that are, kind of crypto fluent, which is, basically almost a third of people in Ukraine that, for whatever reason, good or bad, are at least tuned into the idea of saving and spending using some crypto assets. So I think that, as you say, Ukraine is well ahead of a lot of other places on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that top 3 countries that come before us are all developing countries, right? Developing countries. So I think when people don't trust the traditional finance systems in their country, they look for alternative, and they are way more motivated to learn about these alternatives and try to adopt them. So that just, there is a lot of motivation for people to learn about blockchain in developing countries.
One thing I find interesting is that the Ukrainian government has really gone all in on this. They have official, publicly visible websites where you can go there and make some donations, and really advertising on the front page. This is in a transparent way, which people love about a decentralized system, is that you can go in and you can audit and you can see what's what. And so on the front page, we'll post a link to this. You can see that they have almost 500 Bitcoin have been donated, almost 10,000 ETH, as well as many dots, that's Polkadot, USDT, Solana, and some USDC as well. And so there really have been a lot of people that have taken to this. And, the funds aren't sitting there in Bitcoin right now. People might be wondering, well, Bitcoin's kind of been crashing recently, but they did convert them straight away, and they have been using the assets. And so this actually surprised me even more. I'm looking at the donate page right now. So you can scroll down and you can see that they've purchased digital rifle scopes, thermal imagers, armor vests, helmets, backpacks. They've purchased fuel, anti-war media campaign, and they've listed the items here that they've used the funds for. So this is almost like a new level of transparency that we're not really used to seeing. Even within charitable organizations, sometimes it's a bit more of a black box if you're trying to follow your funds and find out what has happened. And so to me, I see this as being, really a step in the right direction, really being a net benefit for crypto donations.
Absolutely. It's really fascinating and very touching, because obviously it's very personal to me that the crypto community around the world provided so much support. This is absolutely overwhelming. And also they've done such a great job, the Ukrainian government, putting this platform together so quickly. I think they launched it in early March, and the war started on 24th of February. So they've put all of this in place so quickly, and you can now donate in 14 cryptocurrencies. Yeah, they say that they raised more than $60 million. And the transparency they're providing, I think that's understanding that the crypto community appreciates the transparency, and that's really, really important to them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. If they didn't have it, everything exists on the blockchain anyways. So if they didn't have it, people would find it and be posting it, I'm sure, straight away. So best that they get ahead of it and say, well, actually, we did convert it. We did purchase this, and therefore, we are using it for these purposes, right? And then people can make up their own mind. They can say, well, if I don't want you to be buying thermal scopes or bulletproof vests, then, I can choose not to donate.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people around the world who do not want to donate to military equipment, but they want to donate to humanitarian aid. And they provide options for that as well. There are a number of different charitable organizations who accept cryptocurrency donations that only provide support for people of Ukraine, not necessarily the army.
Right. A unique thing I noticed when I was looking into this was that, for example, you could donate using PayPal to the rebuilding efforts for Ukrainians, but you could not donate using PayPal to the militarization effort. And so they had a slight distinction there. Now you could use crypto to donate across multiple categories, same with your credit card. But in terms of PayPal decided, that violates their terms of service, and that isn't really a surprise. We've seen this before. You mentioned about other NGOs here also doing this. It's not only about Ukraine. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other efforts in New Zealand that have been happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So within our ecosystem that I'm working with, FlufWorld project did the charitable NFT drop to support the people of Ukraine. So FlufWorld is a New Zealand-based immersive metaverse ecosystem. They launched digital rabbit characters as NFTs back in August last year, and they really shifted the perception of what an NFT is beyond aesthetic image. So they started with the digital characters, but now they scale to smaller spaces and larger community spaces, and eventually they want to build worlds. So it's a framework for truly expandable metaverse. And the strongest and most important part of this project is its community of more than 50,000 people who are deeply engaged and deeply passionate about NFTs and metaverse. And they are the reason why this Ukrainian NFT drop that they've done has been such a massive success. In March this year, we dropped the Fuck the War scene, which is like a background for your digital character as an NFT. And the proceeds from people purchasing this background NFT were sent to help the people of Ukraine. And the community has donated over $200,000 US, and then the team matched it for a total of $411,000 US. So the support has been absolutely overwhelming. And another great thing about this fundraising event is that they took the time to find local NGOs on the ground. So I think to stop the war, you really need to think global but do local. So they did support Ukrainian government account. They sent funds to Ukrainian DAO, which is a crypto collective who is also supporting a number of causes, and other well-established charities like Save the Children. But also we connected with a number of like grassroots NGOs that desperately need help, and they're on the ground, and I know them personally. So in that way, they managed to spread funding over a range of causes in different areas. So
this was all part of the same project called Fuck the War?
Yes.
Which meaning is pretty straightforward.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's an incredible figure, right? $411,000 raised and donated. And just to summarize what you were talking about there, so the fluff characters are like animated, like profile pictures in terms of some of the other NFT speak. And the background then can be changed. Is that what it was? Or was it like a different, did I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So you can really pick and choose different backgrounds, the music, the accessories for those fluff characters who are digital rabbits.
When you talk about finding NGOs on the ground, is this in Ukraine?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so there were, actually we started looking for NGOs who are based in Ukraine and support Ukrainian people, but I reached out to a few in my city, and they said that money is great, but we don't have supplies to spend them on. Like people were running out of things to buy because stores were getting empty. There were humanitarian aid arriving to those places. So the solution that would be better was to work with Ukrainian NGOs operating from Europe and Canada, who were sending medical supplies to the affected areas in Ukraine. Because there came a point when money did not help those local small NGOs operating on the ground. So we worked with two smaller grassroots NGOs based in Europe and Canada.
Right, that's really not a problem that we would think about at all. Is that point when money cannot help? So I mean that's incredible. You also mentioned about, when we spoke before, you mentioned about Universe.xyz having a lot of Ukraine-based developers and artists.
Yeah, that's right. So Universe.xyz is also a New Zealand-based project. They're building their NFT marketplace, and a big part of their team is based in Ukraine, mainly developers and digital artists. And obviously that was very close to their heart. So the whole team decided to focus on NFT charitable collection, and they put everything together in days. And I know people who were working from the bomb shelters, just designing those animated NFTs and building the website, which is absolutely incredible. And they managed to raise $115,000 in a few days.
So for people that might think, how are you using NFTs to help these people when you can just donate funds directly? What do you think about that? Like, how are NFTs as an additional branch helpful in this case? Obviously, there are other projects you have just mentioned, right? But why not just donate directly?
It is an engagement tool. It is way more engaging, and it helps, encourages people to spread the word when this is an NFT project rather than just a cryptocurrency donation. And also for NFT projects out there, they already have an established community of loyal followers who are easy to engage. So it really made sense for our NFT projects to leverage this opportunity. And I think for users, for donors, I would love to keep something to remind me about the war, to use that, to share that with my friends, to encourage more people to donate, and to have this piece stored as a reminder of the support you provided and of the events that...
Right, something that's a lot more meaningful than just having a tax receipt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
sure. You go on that website, for your Ukraine platform, you can see that you can donate NFTs as well, besides cryptocurrencies. So government accepts NFTs, and some of the NFTs donated included CryptoPunk, which was worth at that time $200,000 US. And Ukrainian DAO, which is another major crypto collective, auctioned a non-fungible token of the Ukrainian flag, and they raised $6.5 million.
I mean, these all have to be sort of like world firsts. The idea of donating, the idea of having such a valuable pixelated NFT called a CryptoPunk, and then somebody being able to digitally donate it to a war effort. Like, you couldn't have written this stuff in a fiction novel.
No, I did not think that fundraising will become, that NFTs will become such so instrumental for fundraising efforts. And you would see a lot of NFT projects allocating a part of their funds to different charitable organizations in the past, before the war. So I think, again, this became a catalyst for developing those efforts further.
I guess there's also some tech here that could be useful, in the sense that some of the NFTs, when they're minted, the creators can take royalties from that, depending on resales. And so there could be some sort of like funneling mechanism here, whereby instead of artists collecting royalties, royalties get donated to charitable organizations or things like that. And, that's certainly something that we haven't seen before.
You can think about it as more impactful than just making crypto donations, because you store this piece of history until you decide to sell it. And so it's still out there. It still reminds people about what happened. And another project is Avatars for Ukraine, which was done by such talented digital artists who worked on Mortal Kombat, League of Legends, Star Trek, and just really, really talented. And they created 70 artworks that depict the bravery of Ukrainian people. They also managed to raise funds for
So that's personally something that I can get behind, because I'm still a little bit skeptical of direct donations to charity in terms of knowing what type of impact my donation is going to have. But if you can support an artist in an effort like this, and then actually walk away with some art, then it's purchasing of art, supporting an artist, and perhaps also having a charitable impact as well. So I think that is a really interesting side effect of the NFT space in general. So crypto and NFTs definitely skew towards the younger folks, perhaps Gen Z or even younger than that. What do you see, how do you see as this playing out long term?
Yeah, so I found a study done by Fidelity Charitable, they were exploring the benefits of cryptocurrency donations and how different generations see that. And they found out that owners of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum are disproportionately more charitable group. In fact, 45% of cryptocurrency investors donated $1,000 or more to charity in 2020, compared to 33% of the full investor population. And I think, exactly, it's more popular and more widely adopted among younger populations, so Generation Z. And that makes it more likely that the trend is here to stay. And those younger generation are also a charitably inclined generation. And they found out that 9 in 5 say that the charitable donations are an important part of their lives, versus around 75% of the total population. And this is just a way more convenient and easy way to donate personally. And I think another benefit besides philanthropic reasons that people often overlook are the tax implications. So it turns out that your cryptocurrency donation is tax deductible. So IRD classifies cryptocurrency donations as property, meaning they're not subject to capital gains tax and are tax deductible. So your tax deduction will be equal to the fair market value of the cryptocurrency that you donate, which will be established by a third party, I believe. So that means when you donate, you don't have to pay capital gains tax. And again, according to that study, I think it's less than 45% of people who donate who are aware of that. So you can actually leverage that if you get a receipt confirming that you made a cryptocurrency donation and submit that to IRD, you can get tax deduction.
So the selling event of your cryptocurrency, that can be taxed if the value has gone up in terms of capital gains. But if you want to sell some of it in order to donate, you can do that basically tax-free.
You don't even need to sell that to donate. You can just send cryptocurrency to charities that accept it. And also another great thing for them is when they accept it, they don't pay any tax either.
Right. Direct donations. Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. Yeah, the Save the Children organization, they've been accepting Bitcoin since 2013, which is very, very early. But in those early days, what they had to do was they had to sell it straight away. No, sorry, I got that backwards. In the early days, what they did was for their very first donation, they asked it to be converted before accepting the donation. So they said, sure, if you wouldn't mind converting that, but which is essentially selling your crypto and then making a donation in the fiat currency. Obviously, that was a long time ago now, and them and other organizations do directly accept cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, that's right. In New Zealand, there are actually quite a few charitable organizations that accept direct donations in cryptocurrencies. And I think the first one were Heart Kids. I think COVID has become a major accelerator here because it made traditional fundraising very challenging. And also with ever-growing popularity of cryptocurrencies, NGOs started to really look into these opportunities. And what Heart Kids did, they partnered with Giving Block, which is a US-based company providing the infrastructure for charitable organizations to integrate crypto donations into their offering, because there is a lot you need to know and a lot of infrastructure you need to prepare and understand in order to offer crypto donations to your community, and they just make it easier for those charitable organizations.
Right. You don't want to have to be hiring a crypto engineer just to enable these payments.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the other organizations include UNICEF, so they accept donations in, I think, 4 cryptocurrencies now, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. And Child Fund, we actually worked closely with them recently. So they not only accept donations in cryptocurrencies, including Dogecoin, too. They decided to explore the potential of NFTs, and they launched collection called Gifts That Grow on Lithoverse NFT marketplace. And this was 54 NFTs, which was like a set of cards with different animals on them dressed in Halloween costumes. And yeah, that was just a new way that they explored how they could engage their community. And
did you help them set this up? And what is the Lithoverse?
So Lithoverse is one of the projects created in the Centrality ecosystem. This is an NFT marketplace, which provides a very easy way for you to mint and sell your NFTs and purchase NFTs. So that you can do that in a few clicks. You really don't need to have any background in order to set up your collection. So we provided the support for Child Fund all the way through. But yeah, that was very, very easy for them to get an idea of how it works. And another great thing about that is that you can set your royalties. So all the future sales of NFTs, you get a percentage of the trading volume, which you can also choose to donate to charitable causes. You can choose to keep it.
Oh, great. So that's actually being built in. You don't need specialized knowledge to be able to write that contract.
No, there is a form saying how much royalties would you like to collect, and you can set a percentage. The recommended one, I think, is about 10%.
Coming to the end of our time here, what do you see as the role of an organization such as Blockchain New Zealand? Basically, how can we help the industry and our individual members?
So I think the most important part of that is education. Financial inclusion starts with financial education, and that's for both New Zealand NGOs and cryptocurrency enthusiasts. So for NGOs, digital assets are poised to become a strong source for funding in the future. And they face a number of different challenges, including setting it up and understanding it, providing a seamless way to convert donated cryptocurrencies to fiat currencies, ensuring safety for both donors and the NGO. So there are a lot of challenges and a lot of there is lack of knowledge about how to overcome them. So we could provide some advice on that. And second, educating cryptocurrency holders who would like to donate to charities and about some benefits of it, including tax applications. Because until I've done the research, I didn't realize myself that I should have grabbed a receipt when I did my cryptocurrency donation, because then I can use that to have tax deduction. So that was quite interesting. And people can already learn a lot about blockchain crypto NFTs on the BlockchainNZ website. And you can connect to our team directly to ask any questions or inquire about becoming a member if you would like to get access to some exclusive content and networking events and just different events in the industry.
Yeah, great. I mean, education is one of these ongoing things that the innovation is leaping much faster than the education can keep up right now. And so we always need more, and we always also need people to improve upon what there is already out there. So I think that's very important. I've definitely taken away quite a few things I didn't know before today's chat. Are you up for some rapid fire?
Sure.
Okay, the first one might be the hardest one. Ukraine or New Zealand?
Oh, I feel like there is no right answer here. Ukraine in my heart, but New Zealand forever.
All right. A few metaverse plays. Decentraland or Sandbox?
Sandbox.
FlufWorld or Altered State Machine?
I can't do that. What are you doing to me? Literally, they are stronger together.
Stronger together. Okay. Could you tell us a bit about what Altered State Machine is?
Yes. So this is the project that has also become a part of the Futureverse ecosystem, which brings a number of different NFT projects together to build the metaverse world. And what they are focusing on is non-fungible intelligence. So they are using AI so you could train and educate your NFT characters, and that can be used in games, that can be used in finance. There are plenty of different use cases, and they are integrating this artificial intelligence within other NFT projects in the ecosystem, including FlufWorld. Okay. So that's why they will be stronger.
I mean, it sounds like I need to do my homework, and perhaps we need a whole show just on that. Last one. Who is Satoshi?
I think that's a collective of incredibly talented people that didn't realize what they have created.
Liz, thank you very much for coming out today.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Look out for the next episode of the Blockchain New Zealand podcast, probably in the same spot you found this one. Cheers.